From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's recording, we go over the breaking news as the House of Representatives has sent a body of legislation to the Senate to get passed today. And that body of legislation, if passed, will make it easier to get your recon done. That recon, also called the Build Back Better Act, is in the Senate. And there are lots of checks across the board in that incredible recon. We have all the dramatics of that major vote happening today in the U.S. Senate. In this recording, we go over all the dramatics about the big money in this incredible recon that pays you a lot of money. And the passage of a potential additional ancillary piece of legislation today that'll make it easier to get that recon done. We'll go over all the incredible checks in that incredible Senate add-on, including MSC, that is on the table. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. We'll go over the latest details of those checks going on top of the existing checks. Many multiple checks that pay at least $15,000, upwards of $60,000. We're going to go over to third stimulus that's still paying out money across the board. And that third stimulus has a lot of money in there, about $45,000. And you're going to learn in this recording how you can get an additional round right today, nearly a year after it became a law. Surprising? Yes. Reality? Yes. Moolah? Lots of it. It's coming up in today's recording. Then we'll be turning to the questions you've been asking about this stimulus. This stimulus is right around the corner after you've got it already, that COLA raise. We'll be turning to student loan debt forgiveness first, then we'll be turning to that COLA raise, and fifth stimulus right behind that. It's a lot more than SS200. It's a lot of money, and it's tied to inflation. Plus, we'll be going over the latest details about where inflation is in view of Omicron. Those details and more as we go into the dramatics of one of the biggest cliffhangers we've seen on this channel for over a year. The last time we had a cliffhanger this big was when we guessed whether Mitch was wearing lobster shorts or not. These incredible details as we go into big afternoon. I'm excited you're here. We have never seen dramatics like this, and this is very important for your wallet, very important for your pocketbook. The excitement starts right here, right now, as a big Afternoons LA gets underway, direct from Santa Monica, California, on a big new day, starting right now. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're doing well. And here we go. The House of Representatives passed a major body of legislation on Friday. And today, the Senate will call for a vote. It impacts your fourth stimulus recon. I'll go over the dramatics of that major vote happening today. Then we go over the Senate changes to that incredible recon, fourth stimulus recon, Build Back Better Act, that would land in there a monthly IRS stimulus check, $2,000 a month, $1,000 thereafter, including checks for seniors and people on disabilities. The checks already in that recon pay at least $15,000, upwards of $60,000 with third stimulus being repeated. But no time to wait for third stimulus because you can get it right today. I'm going to explain to you how you can get upwards of $45,000 in your hand by the end of the week. Student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that. Plus, we turn to the dramatics you've been asking across the board about fifth stimulus. How does that fifth stimulus work? How does that COLA benefits work? And then why did your check go up this month? Will be going up next month as well. Plus, the new inflationary numbers, the new projections, Omicron, and its impact upon your wallet. A lot coming up in today's recording. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited you're here. But first, go into this video and subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. You are watching LALATE, America's #3 most watched financial news channel in America. Covered internationally, covered in the United States, and covered with you 24/7. Hit that subscribe button. I want you part of the fastest growing channel there is. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The link is under the video, so you get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. Meantime, also sign up for the LALATE alerts. They're also under the description of this video. Totally free, so you do not miss a video across the board. In today's recording, we're going to go over all the dramatics of this four symbols recon. We're going to go over that vote. We're going to go over the nuances of what's happening today. We're going to go over the provisions. But first, we're going to start with the money. Of course, we're going to start with the money. About $15,000 of checks across 3 clusters and 3 add-ons, but likely upwards of $60,000, starting with cluster number 1. Here we go. Cluster number 1 got in there, hazard pay for my earned income tax credit for my essential workers. A lot of people ask about this daily. What is it? It's existing under the third stimulus already. It would be extended for 1 more year. It's the earned income tax credit. You can go to irs.gov to learn about it. They broaden the eligibility for people to get it. It's a back-end check, meaning you file the tax return, then you get the benefits. It's for essential workers. $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children. They got the CTC child tax credit in there for 1 more year, $3,600. They got $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, and they got the money to repair your home if you're in a low-income community. Wow, incredible details across the board. The first add-on of 3 add-ons comes from the illustrious Maxine Waters here in Southern California. In Los Angeles. She wanted to give you $25,000. She got a little bit less. This is money for your first home purchase. Wow, you heard me right. Money for your first time home purchase given by the federal government to the seller in your name at the time of escrow. Let's go to the second cluster checks. Home repairs and paid leave. What's paid leave? It is money for you if you have to take off from work because of illness or situation because of you or someone in the household. How much money is it? $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, $800 a week. If you make $15,000 or more per year, $400 a week. If you don't work, but your son or daughter does work, and they have to take off from work to take you to the doctor, then they would get the money for the household up to how many weeks? 4 weeks per year. Then we have in there home repairs to weatherize your home. You need to weatherize your home. I mean, it's January. There's always a holiday. There's always a holiday in Congress. They're always taking vacations. What's the next lobster holiday, Mitch? Oh, it's the one where you wear the lobster shorts. Isn't that every day? There's always a holiday when it comes to Mitch McConnell and lobsters. That's why you got to weatherize your home. So you decorate it for that Lobster Fest 2022. The one today and the one next week and the one week thereafter. Let's go to the second add-on of checks. Comes with illustrious Bob Casey. It was a Joe Biden campaign promise. And Bob Casey, the wonderful senator from Pennsylvania, got it in there. What is this? Money for your home health care if you're a senior and person on disability. Free coverage across the board. It's huge. It's very important for millions of Americans who need this. He wanted to give you $250 billion. It's a little bit less. Let's go to that third cluster of checks. Here we go. Seniors and free internet. Okay, so let's go over these checks, which are true deliciousness. In this cluster, we have in there cheaper prescription medication. We have in there checks for school meals, free school meals for all checks. We have farmers checks. We have independent contractors checks. We have checks for free internet. And then we have benefits, but not checks. Benefits for the seniors. 2 added on the House side, 3 to be added on the Senate side. Let's go over each of them one at a time. On the House side, they got the Medicaid gap fix. I'll go over that in a second, what it is. And they've got in their hearing aid. The senators vow to add 2 other provisions, which are dental vision, actually 3 other provisions, dental vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 as low as 55, which is par for the course for when we talk about the third add-on. It's just like those benefits we just went in over. They're not in there yet. They're going to add them in there. That third add-on, of course, is MSC. We can go over what it is, who gets it, the amount, the advocacy, and the voting on it, starting right now. First, what is MSC? It's an acronym used on this channel to describe a monthly, that's the M, or multiple, that's the M, IRS stimulus check. We emphasize the word IRS because this is the one that goes out from IRS. To make it even more clear, there are multiple checks in this fourth stimulus recon. Many checks, all M, many, multiple, moolah of checks in this fourth stimulus recon. And those checks would pay a lot, upwards of 15,000 to 60,000. This instrument is a different one. This is additional checks which would go out from IRS. Okay, now so far you know what it is. Let's go over the eligibility. Those senators, who I'm going to go over in a second, told thousands of viewers of this channel since the month of May that the eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check. So if you forgot the eligibility for a third stimulus check, let me go over with you right now of how it would work for a fourth stimulus check. Single individuals, $75,000 annual income or less would get it. Married couple, annual income of $150,000 or less would get it, but it would be doubled in value. Family of four would get it as well, but it would be quadrupled in value. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, you would get it as well. Let's go over some of the nuances of the checks. Is it income? It's not income. Is it taxable? It's not taxable. Is it local, state, or county? It is not. It is nationwide. It is offered by the federal government going out across the board. There is no state that wouldn't pay you. It's coming from the federal government. It's not coming from the state. Okay, that's pretty obvious. Now let's go over the amount. Those legislators told thousands of viewers of this channel since May that this would be the amount. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. Now they can do more. They can do less, but that's what they have said over and over and over again. All right, let's go to one of the most important part of the equation is the how and the when. Understanding what the way is to get it done, to make it a law, the voting process, the steps, and everything you need to know. And then we're going to segue into advocacy right after that. A lot of details. This is what we do on this channel. We go over the details. We don't go over that there's a check in the mail. We go over everything you need to know about how the check gets sent out. And we're going to start with those details starting right now. The body of legislation that would have this money, these multiple checks, and this MSC in there, is a bill that was passed in the House of Representatives in the month of November. That bill is now in the Senate. The bill has a name. It's called the Build Back Better Act, aka the BBB, or Build Back Better provision. Now, that is currently in the Senate. Passed in the House, passed now in the Senate. For something to become a law, it has to be passed by the House and by the Senate and signed into the law by the President. The reason why it's not a law yet is not for any negative reason. It's not because they don't care. It's not because they forgot about you. It's not because they're dragging their feet. It's not because they're lazy. It's because there's a lot of political maneuverings to get it passed in the Senate. And where are we generally before we get to those nuances? We are basically in a holding mode. I use the Monaco Grand Prix as an example. A Grand Prix is a car race where cars race the streets of a town. I'm using Monaco as an example. It's a Principality of Monaco near the French and the Italian border, and it has a harbor, has boats in the harbor. Let's imagine you're driving the Monaco Grand Prix and you're almost to the finish line, and suddenly the announcer goes on the air and says, you know what, pull over to the side of the road. Am I getting a ticket? No, you're getting a croissant. A croissant? How nice of you, but I don't eat croissants. Too buttery. Well, you pull over to the side of the road and you say, well, what's happening? I want to get to the finish line. We can't just yet, sir. We will get to the finish line in a second or a few weeks or a few days. That's where the fourth stimulus recon is right now. It's pulled over to the side of the road. It has not ended the race. The race has not been canceled. And the race is not going in reverse. You're not going backwards. You're not backing up the car either. That's what's important to understand. Now, here's what you need to know, is that at the time the announcer goes on air and says, pull over to the side of the road, what was the status of the fourth stimulus recon in the Senate? This is very important for you to understand. The senators, had never gotten to making their changes. Remember, a body of legislation passes the House. And the House members make their changes, and they vote on it, they pass it, then they send it to the Senate. The senators never got their changes done. And guess what? They have a lot of changes to do because they told us. We have Bernie Sanders. He has a lot of stuff to add in there. There's Ron Wyden. He says he has a lot of stuff. Liz Warren, Chuck Schumer. They all say they have a lot of stuff to add in there. That event never happened. Doesn't mean, again, the event is never happening. It means we're on the side of the road. We pulled over. We're on pause. We're having a croissant. Just too many croissants. Just a little too buttery. That's where we are right now. Now, when the announcer goes on air and says, start your engines, we're starting back up again in the race, what would happen first? What would happen first is we would basically go to the Senate subcommittee. What is the subcommittee? It's below the floor of the Senate. It's divided into subject matters, like budget is a subcommittee. Who's the budget chairman, or a committee? Who is the chairman of the budget committee? Bernie Sanders. And what do? They look at the provisions sent to them from the House to the Senate and say, you know what? I like it, but it's not enough years. We want to do 5 years instead of 4 years. Or I like it, but I like the number 10. I want the number 12. They're not going to remove anything likely. They're likely to enhance it or make it bigger or add things across the board. So when we talk about MSC, adding in there. When we're talking about the dental vision, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, Bernie provisions, added in there. Ron Wyden, he has a lot of money. He has a lot of money provisions. Want to add it in there. Liz Warren wants to add stuff in there. That is where we are right now. There's something brand new, which you've never heard on this channel until right today in this video, is that's that body of legislation. Could there be another body of legislation to have money in there for you as well? There is always that possibility. And guess what? It's coming up in the second half of this video. It's brand new. It's very exciting. It's coming up in the second half of this video. But first, before we get to that, let's go over advocacy. Where are we on advocacy? And what is advocacy? Advocacy involves picking up the phone and telling those senators you need this forced stimulus recon. In the month of May, you did it. Then you did it all last year. But the advocacy is a little bit different right now. And we're going to go over those details of that advocacy starting right now. First, we don't have a vote today. We don't have a vote tomorrow on the forced stimulus recon. So the urgency of picking up the phone and flooding their phone banks right now is not there. There's no urgency at the moment to make 15 phone calls today. But you need to remind them. Call at least once a week. Remind them. I need these provisions. Whatever provision you like in this recon. Maybe you like 10 of them. Maybe you like 2 of them. Maybe you like 3 of them. Pick up the phone and advocate. Your story may be different today than it was in October or November when you last called. If you remember the person you spoke to last time in that office of that senator's office, ask for that person. Say, hi, it's me again. Let me tell you why I need him even more than before. And maybe your story is about your health, your medicine, or your finances, or your community, your church. Maybe you have a bigger story than ever before. Pick up that phone and advocate. Call maybe once a week. You don't have to call every single day. Who do you advocate to? Let's go over those people you want to advocate to. There's 6 senators, and what you need to know is these are the people you want to advocate to. Remember, we're in the Senate, we're not in the House, so you don't need to advocate to the House members at any time right now because we're out of the House. We are in the Senate. You want to advocate to Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. The reason why these senators are absolutely wonderful human beings is that they are elected for states as state senators. Coons for Delaware, Warren for Massachusetts, Sanders for Vermont, Schumer for New York, but they represent interests and Americans outside of their states. So understand they're there for you. Advocate to them and tell them why you need it. Now, here's a couple things that are brand new today on advocacy on Afternoons LA. First, don't ask a staffer about whether there is a check. It's a waste of a time and it's a question that will not get an answer because it's a hypothetical. Let me make very clear to you. What we are at the moment is we don't have the bill. I just went over it. We don't have a Senate bill yet. And if you're asking, let's use an example of a question you should not ask. Is there an MSC in the forced stimulus? Is there an MSC in the Build Back Better bill? That's a question you should ask because the bill has not been finalized on the Senate side. So you're asking about a hypothetical. It's like saying, is there going to be a tornado tomorrow? I don't know. I'm not a weather analyst, and I don't see any tornado data. That doesn't mean there won't be a tornado. So don't be asking if something is in there. Let's make it even more obvious. If you're on the front porch and the neighbor says, I heard that it's not in there. Your response to that neighbor is, there is no there. What do you mean there is no there? There is no there. They don't have the bill on the Senate side. They haven't done the bill yet. So don't be asking and looking for something because it's not there. And if anyone tells you it's not in there, just ignore them because they obviously don't know the situation. The there is not done. And just because it was passed on the House side doesn't mean anything. There's two bodies of Congress, the House and Senate. The Senate hasn't done their part of the bill yet. They can take 80% of the bill and change the name of it and put a hat on it and change the color of the shirt and put a surfboard behind it. They can change everything they want over and under. And so we're not there yet. That's the first thing. Second thing is pick up the phone and advocate. And you saw me talk about this yesterday on this channel. I said it in the best way and the most respectful way possible, but it's also to give honor to you. Every advocacy vehicle, every advocacy instrument helps, but it is disrespectful to the viewers of this channel, the Purple Power, who have called 9 million times. That is not a hyperbole. That's actually the number since the month of May, and not talk about your contribution to the situation, but talk about only a petition. We don't do that on this channel, but print media, cable news, and other places only talk about a particular instrument. It's disrespectful to you, and I got to tell you why. The reason why it's disrespectful is because there is a lot of other things that are at issue than just a petition. Here's what's going on, is that there is a substantive, there is a volume, and there is a work product that people are not giving credit to you. First, substantive. You substantively have done more work than the American petition. The American petition involves someone. Let me do it for you right now. Let's do an example right now. Here's my pen. Sign, done. How long did that take? About 1 second for me to sign my name to something that was written by someone else, 2 paragraphs. I just signed my name, LALATE, signed it to a petition. What are you doing? You're on the phone for 20 minutes talking to a staffer. You're on the phone for 40 minutes. You're calling 1 or 2 times a day. You're doing more work than just taking your pen and doing that. That's number one. Number two, you are doing substantively more work. The American petition is written by an individual, a few paragraphs, and then people sign it. Every time someone signs it, they're not adding any more information to the petition because every signature doesn't come with more information of why a person needs it. You are doing that. You're picking up the phone and telling Chuck Schumer's office, I need to tell you why I need it. I need to tell you why my community needs it, my family needs it. That is why they value your contribution. Finally, volume. Volume. We had surpassed the American petition in the month of October. At that time, we had delivered 3 million phone calls versus 3 million signatures in the American petition. That was October. This is now January. We are nearly over 9 million phone calls. So, American petition has a lot of value to it. You have a lot of value, but don't let anyone make you feel like chopped liver because they want to talk about the American petition because either they're lazy, they're bad news reporters, or they sort of want to be shady to you and they want to not honor your contribution situation. Needless to say, the only people that need to know about your contribution are you, me, and those senators. And here's what the chief of staff to the number one guy in that recon says: you've done more than the American petition. They now have in total, this is what it says, the graphic, this is a graphic from October when it was 3 million. And they now have in total between congressional senators' offices received more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories. Now they have better understanding of what Americans are going through during this pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories in the voice of the people across the nation in you, LA, as you have become too loud to be ignored. Please continue your advocacy as a professional voice of the people until this becomes law. In the second half of this video, we have a lot of major details coming up. Stay to the very end. There's a lot in this video. We have new comments from the White House saying that the recon will get done, number one. Number two, we have always the possibility that the checks that are in the Build Back Better Act, they could put some checks in another body of legislation. I'll be going over that after the commercial break. It's brand new. Then we'll go over the dramatics of that major vote happening today. I've been telling you about this for the last 3 days. We'll be turning to student loan debt forgiveness. We'll be turning to FIST stimulus. We'll be turning to all the incredible provisions in this fourth stimulus recon that pays you a lot of money. All those details and more coming up after the commercial break. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. As a big, bold afternoon's LA continues, direct from Santa Monica, California, on a beautiful day. The rain has gone away finally. All those details and more coming up after the commercial break, but first, here's a little bit about the community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as Afternoons LA continues live direct from Santa Monica, California on a big, bold, beautiful day. The rain has settled down, thank goodness. That recon will get passed in the next couple of days. So says the White House. That new quote today. Very exciting details. That major vote on another body of legislation could be happening by the end of today. And that Senate changes that could add additional checks to that recon could be robust. We're going to go over all these incredible checks in this Build Back Better Act. Then we'll be turning to the big other checks across the board that are in that fourth stimulus recon and are available still on the third stimulus. Then we'll be going over the possibility of getting checks in another body of legislation as early as this week. We'll go over the student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that, plus the dramatics of fifth stimulus and that 5.9% COLA raise, plus what's going on with inflation, where were my predictions for inflation, and what are my new predictions for inflation? Well, the latest financial data and how to predict what's going on with the financial markets coming up in the next few weeks. Those details and more as we go into the big second half. We have a lot here for you to go over. Stay to the very end, but first, subscribe. I want you part of this incredible family. You are watching LALATE, the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, covered internationally and watched here daily, 24/7. Hit that subscribe button or like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP with new programming throughout the day, live and taped all day long. And with that, we go over all the dramatics of what's happening in the next 24 hours and certainly later today with that major vote happening in the Senate. And here we go, starting right now. So much dramatics, so much to go over, and it starts right here, right now. Later today, and potentially also tomorrow, there'll be a vote in the Senate. And that vote in the Senate is a very bit confusing. I'll explain to you right now what's at issue. The vote started on Friday when the House of Representatives passed a body of legislation called the Voting Rights Initiative. Sent it over to the Senate. It's now in the Senate. And the vote will be called by Chuck Schumer in the Senate today, potentially, and is likely to get blocked on the first attempt. But this is what Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, the White House, and the Democrats have plotted for. I've been covering a lot of stuff with Chuck Schumer over the last year. We've had What the Chuck, before that was Being a Mitch, and we've never had a dramatic event like this. A cliffhanger where we really don't know what's going to happen. We know how it's being set up, but we don't know how it's going to end. Let me go over the details and why this is so important. Chuck Schumer had Nancy Pelosi pass something that is very polarizing in the House to send it to the Senate. And once in the Senate, Chuck Schumer will call her for a vote, and he expects that what he calls it for a vote in the Senate, the Voting Rights Initiative, they'll get blocked by the Republicans. This is all plotted out. They expect this to happen. So then what? Well, when it's called for a vote, it's blocked. Then Chuck Schumer reportedly is going to then pivot and then call a vote to change the Senate rules. How the Senate rules will change, how much they'll get changed, will it work, will it not work, we don't know. And in fact, we don't even know how Chuck Schumer is going to do it. He's not telling anyone, including fellow senators. Now, understand the voting rights legislation is, how do you say it? It's sort of like a token bill. It's sort of like a way to tee up something else, and that something else is the Senate rule changes. Will the voting rights initiative be blocked? Of course. I already told you it's going to be blocked. May it fail? It probably will fail. But will it tee up a change of the voting rights initiative? It will. And at that point, we really don't know where that's going. Now, why is this important for your wallet? If the voting rights initiative, if the Senate rules changes happen, it'll make it easier to pass the fourth stimulus recon. If they don't get passed, it doesn't make it any different or more difficult. It's just where we are across the board. New on afternoons right now is the big question. Can the Senate rules or the Voting Rights Initiative have put in there other checks? Can a stimulus check be put in the Voting Rights Initiative? Can a stimulus check be put into the Senate rules bill that could potentially happen as early as today? It can. Who pioneered this concept? I did, with your help, in 2020. In 2020, the continuing resolution, which is a body of legislation, which they do routinely in Congress, was teed up for a vote. It was fall of December 2020, and I said, you know what, second stimulus, we've been hearing about this with Nancy and Steve Mnuchin for months. We're exhausted from it. They never got it done. How about we put a stimulus check in that continuing resolution? I came up with the idea. I created the idea from scratch. No one was talking about it. I recorded a video, and I said, Purple Power, go on social media, push for it. People thought I was crazy. They said continuing resolution doesn't have stimulus checks in there. Continuing resolution is a budget bill to finance how the government is run. The reason why I ran in that story was because you and I have watched bills over the last 2 years, and we understand that there have been bills that put in their funds for Guatemala. There have been bills that put in their funds to fix a highway when it has nothing to do with highway, when it's otherwise. There have been bills that have funds to fix the Department of Copyright. And you're like, why is this in there? This is how they do it. Whether you call it pork or XX or superlative, add-ons. They've been doing this for decades. Where something doesn't belong in there, they slide it in there. Can they slide in a stimulus check into this body of legislation being done in the next 48 hours? They can. Have they done it yet? They haven't. Can they still do it? Absolutely. Now, I've seen some strange... Sometimes people ask me to explain things and I can't, and sometimes I'll watch and I still don't understand it. I've seen some strange things where people say there's a stimulus check going out January 18th or becoming law January 18th or January 19th. And just by the title I think to myself, if someone says there's a check that's becoming a law on the 19th or the 18th of January, today or tomorrow, then I think they're saying that, hey, we're going to try to put it into the voting rights initiative or put it into the Senate rules changes. God bless them. Get it in there. I mean, that I don't care where it goes. Is it in there yet? No. Could they put it in there? I think it's a brilliant idea. And this would not preclude them from putting money elsewhere across the board. So if you're watching this video and say, hey, I like that idea, go on social media. Tag your elected officials saying, Voting Rights Initiative, slide in a stimulus check. Now understand, they're not going to slide in $30,000 of stimulus checks, but slide in a $2,000 stimulus check. Slide in $2,000 per individual, married couple double it, family of four quadruple it. If you're on benefits, SSI or SSDI, $2,000. Slide it in there. Make the advocacy. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to try. If you're doing Voting Rights Initiative and you're just doing the body of legislation, and I haven't pulled it up. It's 800 pages long. So it's a little bit more than just voting rights. Is there stuff in there for San Francisco hairstyle? Is there stuff in there for $12 ice cream? There may be. So for us to ask for something else to be added in there is not a far reach. This is what they do. If you're with me in December 2020, there was a day in December 2020 when the CR was being teed up and social media lost it. When I mean lost, social media was just really upset. They got a wind of all the government, all the money in the CR that was going to foreign governments, foreign countries. And everyone's like, why are we sending this money to foreign countries? Because this is what Congress does. This is what Congress does. They just sort of slide things in there and hope no one notices. Well, we're going to try to see if we can slide some stimulus into this voting rights initiative. Now, understand, I'm not saying it's happening, but let's try our best efforts. And you never know what you can do if you don't ask. All right. One of the best things I can tell you today is that the number one guy for your recon, this guy, Joseph Biden, made very, very clear in the last 2 days, the fourth stimulus recon is happening. The Build Back Better Act is passing. Here's what you need to know. We already went over the provisions. We already went over the dramatics of today. But what about getting the whole recon done? Is it still happening? Oh, yeah, it is. The President of the United States had his White House spokesperson, Andrew Bates, talk about this in the last 48 hours. Now, the way we're going to deal with fourth stimulus recon, fourth stimulus check updates of 2022 is going to the highest point for the updates. And we're going to go to as many presidential quotes as possible, White House quotes as possible. Here's how to do news, and here's how not to do news. Here's how to do news. You go to the guy who's in charge of determining the policies in the United States, the President of the United States, or Chuck Schumer, the legislator, the top legislator in the Senate, or Nancy Pelosi, the top legislator in the House. If they say yes, then we run the quote. Now, here's how you don't do news. You don't run a quote from Representative LALATE, who represents the jurisdiction of Town 101 that has 200 people, who says, I don't think the fourth stimulus recon is going to pass. Who cares what that representative says? You're just a person who represents 200 people in the middle of a town somewhere. I'm not going to run your quote. That's how we do it. We go to the number one guy. And this quote from Andrew Bates is absolutely incredible. So what does it say? It says, every major economic bill this White House has passed has seen ups and downs and required doing work while turning out the noise. This is very important across the board. What does this mean? First, it means ups and downs. You have bad days and you have good days. You have days where you think the recon is imploding. We've had those days. And then we have the days where it's just around the corner. And we have Nancy Pelosi for that, for her wonderful, wonderful expressions. It's imminent. Remember, Nancy? It's imminent. It's any moment. Chuck Schumer. It's July 7th. It's Chuck Schumer with his calendar. It's July 7th. It's December 22nd. Chuck is always has a date. It's imminent around the corner. Now, he also says, Andrew Bates, that it requires doing work. It does. And then turning out the noise. Turning out the noise. This is very important. So what's going on? You're going to see the scope of coverage on this channel be much more detailed than ever before and less puffery, less superlatives, less this guy's on Sunday morning news. This is what the guy said. Why? Andrew Bates has made very clear that the White House has told senators to zip it. Zip it. They do not want Senator number 1 on ABC on Sunday morning trash talking the recon, and Senator 2 on CNN that 5 minutes later blessing the recon and trash talking the first senator. They don't want that anymore. And that means that there's two things that result from that. First, you'll see less coming from senators' mouths. And number 2, you'll see me doing the reporting a little bit differently. Let's go over the details of that first. Less coming out of the senators' mouths. So I don't want you to say, they're not doing it because they're not talking about it. They are doing it. They're just not running their mouths. They've been told to zip it. They're not going to have press conferences. They're not going to appear on Sunday morning news and have 30-minute interviews. They're not going to issue op-eds in the local newspaper saying this or that. They're not going to do that. Me, on the other hand, my job is to go and find the updates, like an Andrew Bates quote. So I'm going to go to those Andrew Bates quotes. I'm going to go to the highest level I can from Nancy, Chuck, or the president. This is how we do it. We go to the highest source across the land. There are some businesses, print, cable news YouTube channels whose business model is negativity, whose business model is the stock market's going to crash, China is going to kill Bitcoin, and meatless tacos are going to be really tasteless. That's their business model. They just do that business model. I don't do that business model. I deliver you the news, whether it's good or bad. And in this case, I'm going to the highest level of the update. So I'm not going to run Podunk representative from Podunk USA, who has 20 people she represents, telling me what's going on with the recon. I'm not going to run her quote because she's not part of the equation. She's just an elected official who represents 20 people in one area. I'm going to run the biggest quote I can from the White House and bring it back down. All right, let's go to the incredible provisions of this incredible recon. We're going to zoom through them because of timing. We got in there the SALT cap, $72,500 of what you deduct in state and local taxes instead of $10,000 on the Trump administration. They got in there the paid leave. They got in there cheaper prescription medication, 20 medications day one, growing to 28 by the year. 30 medications by the year 2028. They got $40 billion of free job training for millions of Americans, so now they can get a free job training to get a better paying job. They got the Medicaid gap fix in there, which is huge. 12 Republican states vowed to never provide cheaper insurance like Obamacare. The Democrats with Raphael Warnock and Joe Manchin got the provision in there, which provides a workaround plan that provides years of subsidized private insurance. They got in there the nutrition, $65 a month for people when they're not in school, and then they got in the housing provision. Then they got in there, and I'll come back to the housing provision in a second. Then they got in there the Pell Grant $550 check, $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. They got in there the extension of those provisions, like the hazard pay, the earned income tax credit, the household tax credit, the CTC, $3,600 for an additional year, the child care as well. And then one of the best provisions of this entire recon, of course, is the housing. Two provisions brand new: weatherizing your home, all types of homes, and then repairing your home if you live in a low-income community. But the other provisions from fourth stimulus are a continuation from third stimulus. It's amazing. It's January 2022, and it was a year ago when we were literally 2 or 3 weeks into third stimulus recon. Remember, in December 2020. I had an exclusive preview of Walker's and third stimulus recon. I said, I can get you about $15,000 from this recon. Well, when it became a law, I showed you, you pounced as a Purple Hawk. You got that money, and you got a lot more than $15,000. You got upwards of $45,000. Then over the summer of 2021, I said, go get another round. You got another round. But most people got the big other round in December 2021, the Christmas stimulus, the Santa stimulus. When I said, go get another round, and most viewers got $15,000. That was less than 30 days ago. Can you get another round today? You can. Let's go over the money right now. We get rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. Rent. 6 places you're going to reach out to. Pull out that newsletter. If you're a member, pull out that newsletter right now. Follow along with it as I go over this with you. If you're not a member, consider becoming a member. The link is under the video. The newsletter comes out tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're going to reach out to 6 places: City Hall, City House Authority; County Hall, County House Authority; State Hall, State House Authority. And the key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. 3 things you must do. You must put application on file everywhere. You must reach out to all 6 places, and you must do multiple rounds. More about those multiple rounds in a second. Then utility assistance. Same thing. You reach out to utility companies and say utility assistance because of COVID. All utility companies. You want to get multiple rounds, like Art and Nisi did 3 rounds. They inspired a generation. Now, let's go to those rounds. This is very, very, very important. Rounds describes another payment of money from third stimulus. So, if you got third stimulus before, then I want you to get another round. If you never got and you just found this channel, God bless you, subscribe and become a member, but get your first round today. Now, when we do a round by picking up the phone today in January 2022, how far do I want you to get this round? I want you to shoot for May. Can't get it May, shoot for April. Can't get to April, shoot to March. Start with the organization the page before. They say they have no more money or they can't do it together, then try another organization. Reach out to all 6. Then the nonprofits. They're in the newsletter. There's 6 nonprofits, and the way nonprofits work is they get replenished with funds by benefactors, donors, every January each year on average. So they may have money they didn't have last month. Do that for mortgages as well, and then get SNAP, money for food, Department of Agriculture, pick up the phone and get that big sums of money. Let's go into FIS stimulus, student loan debt forgiveness, and what is happening in the next few days. FIS stimulus, your COLA benefits. Wow. COLA has been your benchmark for determining how much each year your benefits check goes up, whether you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits. COLA is a horrible benchmark. Why? Because it doesn't move. It hasn't moved for many, many years. The reason why it's 5.9% this month, announced last year, is because inflation is super, super, super high. If inflation wasn't high, your COLA may be zero again this year. Now, what do they want to do? Let's explain this COLA check first off. Let's go over the details of this. Your benefits check for January 2022, let's use Social Security, is going up 5.9%. Everyone is going up 5.9%. You don't have to do anything. It's automatic. In the case of Social Security, for example, it's income. So yeah, you'll have a little bit more income. You have to pay a little bit more in taxes, but it's going up 5.9%. Next month, it's going to be the same number. So once you step up, you never step down. Got it? Okay. Now, what's wrong with COLA? It doesn't move. It doesn't move. It's a bad benchmark. They, under FIS stimulus, which they want to work on starting this month, is replace COLA and use new benchmark inflation. Remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, remove the marriage penalty, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry a long-time love interest. When we talk about inflation, I got to pat myself on the back because I did not see anyone else except me that got it right months ago. In spring of last year, the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, who has now been reconfirmed as the federal chairman, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, said inflation will spike in December 2021 last month, and he said it'll go to 2 to 3%. And it'll be transitory or temporary and come back down in January 2022. Wrong and wrong. It was not 1 or 2%. It did not go down. Number two, Wall Street's biggest analysts, Wall Street's biggest financial analysts all said it was going to be 2 to 3% inflation. I said 8%. I have an MBA. I went to an Ivy League undergraduate college. I went to an Ivy League college for my MBA. I studied corporate finance. Even at that time, years ago, I was doing analysis in college, in graduate school for IBM, and my price target on IBM, people thought I was crazy. That's too high. How can you say IBM is going to go that high? I said the data shows that the price is going to go that high. 2 months after I did that report, just like a report you do for class, I was right. I was right on the point. In the case of inflation, I said it was 8%. The new inflation numbers were released last Friday, 7.5%. December 2022, right on the money. Insane. Now, what's going on next? This is where I need you to know where we're going on next. 2 events that are impacting inflation. The existing issues of inflation and a new event called Omicron. Omicron is new for its economic impact in the last really almost 30 days. Because with infection rates of 1.5 million new per day, that's a little bit different than 200,000 cases a day or 50,000 cases a day. How is an Omicron creating an inflationary event? And what do you need to know? Because this impacts your wallet. It's a very simple concept. It concerns people who can't show up to work because they're sick. Let's take a business. The average business that's impacted by Omicron has 20, 30, 40% of the staff out because of Omicron. Okay, so how does this impact the numbers? If the staff is out, let's take one staffer. The one staffer's out, they have to have someone cover for that staffer. How do they do it? They can use someone that's on staff already and pay them overtime. Overtime is darn expensive. Or they can bring in a temp help and have that person do it. Also expensive. Or they can hire someone new, also expensive. The net result is it costs more money to do that. So every time someone's out for Omicron, it's going to cost the employer more money on labor. What do? The employer passes the costs over to you. So the loaf of bread ain't $3, it's $4. This is going to impact your wallet. It's going to go on for at least 30 days, 40 days. So 7.5% inflation. My price prediction, my economic prediction is that inflation will stay upwards of 8% in January 2021's number, which will be released in early February. We're currently experiencing it right now. But what I've taught you and what I've shown you is the best way to gauge inflation is yourself. If you see milk go up more this week than it was the week before, or bread or gasoline more expensive this week than the week before, and the week after that goes up even more, that's how you see inflation. You can see inflation before the analyst reports come out 30 days from now. Finally, one of the things I've been covering a lot on this channel, and just seems some strange to cover it, but I need to cover it. It is an economic event if it occurs. Buying the rumors, selling the news. I covered it last night. Watched the videos from last night. The rumor and the news is the rumor that Vladimir Putin and Russia may invade Ukraine in the next 90 days. We don't have the rumor yet. If the rumor happens, even if the rumor is false, that will impact the financial markets dramatically. And then if the news follows thereafter that the rumor was incorrect, then we'll correct ourselves, but we may not fully correct ourselves. How does this work? Let's say you see a press release issued by the foreign minister from Russia, and we interpret in a way that sounds like maybe they're going to do it, maybe they're not going to do it, or maybe you see troops move, 200 miles closer to the border, 100 miles closer to the border. Is that because they want to invade it, or because of something else? Rumor. That will impact the financial markets, will impact everything, and impact your wallet. We're going to watch that data across the board. We're going to watch where Omicron's impacting inflation, and we're going to watch what's happening with this vote today in the Senate. Tune in tonight for Evenings LALATE, because it's likely to be a very robust video and likely different than this video taped earlier in the day. On Evenings LALATE tonight is Evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock, then Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock, Home Stream Stimulus at 7 o'clock, Evenings Countdown at 8 o'clock, Evenings Extra at 8 o'clock, and then Overnights LALATE starting at 9 o'clock, with shows at 9, 10, and 11:30, before we return back with Mornings Sunrise, LALATE Sunrise at 3 and 3:30, before we go back into early mornings and mornings LALATE and Mornings Countdown every day. And with that, I want you part of this incredible family, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Oh, let me stop the music. I forgot to go over something for you as well. I want to thank everyone for your incredible comments and wonderful wishes in recent days. I was hospitalized. If you don't know, some people sort of were out of the mix. They're getting caught up. I was hospitalized for 3 weeks. It was not because of COVID. I've not revealed what it was, and I don't intend to really reveal what it was. I appreciate all your incredible comments. I also want you to send prayers to fellow viewers. We have some viewers who have Omicron now. We have some viewers whose family members have Omicron. We have some volunteers that are dealing with medical issues as well. Send prayers to everyone across the board. I'm feeling better, and I appreciate all your incredible sentiments across the board. Keep it positive, keep it smiling, and keep it motivated across the board. Join me next on the programming as it continues throughout the day. And so cue the music. And subscribe. 400,000 subscribers YouTube record. Be part of the #3 most watched financial news channel in America. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LALATE for more.